There are numerous ways to open a show, and what's best for any one show can vary greatly depending on the genre, the story pacing, and even the budget. However, one thing all show openers have in common, by necessity, is that they convince uninitiated viewers to keep watching, even if it's not tearing headlong into the action. In case it wasn't already obvious, yes, we're going to be talking about the opening of Girls und Panzer Episode 1 this week. It felt like it was about time, seeing as my first Girls und Panzer video focused on the scene that was, chronologically, the first in the series. Now, since I'll be focusing solely on this scene, there's a pretty low risk of spoilers this time around. Though I will mention some things that take place in the season's first couple of episodes. So if you're new to the show and somehow wound up here, I definitely recommend watching at least the first several episodes first, so you can best experience it. That out of the way, onto the scene in question. It's a pretty simple one that runs for just about 3.5 minutes, a little more. It's a brief flash forward to Orai's first Senshido battle against St. Gloriana. What makes this scene so important and noteworthy though, especially as the start of the show, is actually less the details of what's happening in the scene, and more of what Girls und Panzer manages to accomplish in this time frame. Getting this scene right was very important for the show. The main reason for that is, due to the nature of the story narrative, we don't get a whole lot of tank action for the first few episodes after this. And even before the show aired, its creators clearly knew that a big part of the appeal would be the tank battles. They're the show's real fan service after all. So there was a major need to give viewers a taste of that, of the show's essence, right at the start to make sure they stuck around through the quote-unquote boring parts to get to where we have more tank battles to enjoy. But there's more to keeping new, uninitiated viewers invested than just giving them an early taste of the action. While that might be enough for some viewers in this specific context, i.e. people here for the tanks, you still need to do more to keep viewers interested and engaged right from the get-go. Fortunately, the writers of this show knew, even this early on, just what they needed to do. A huge part of what makes this scene work so well as our introduction to Girls und Panzer is, somewhat counterintuitively, what it doesn't tell us. While we get good looks at the tanks, and at all the initial members of the Orai Senshido team, we're only given a single name, Makos, during the entire scene, and that while she's out of view. We are also given no info about what's going on. Who exactly are they fighting? Why are they having a tank battle? Why are most of the tanks creatively decorated? We don't know how much danger the characters might be in either. What this lack of information does do, though, is, as I just implied, make the viewers ask questions. Questions which will keep people watching. Let's focus on the characters first. We're shown a lot of people, most of them for only about a second or two. However, a pair of characters, Miho and Yukari, get the most screen time here. And the only lines spoken by individual characters, apart from Rabbit Team's one-worded acknowledgement of Miho's orders, are members of the Anglerfish team. This is no accident, of course. In giving us more focus on these characters now, it primes us to expect more of them once we move to the chronological start of the story. And, especially in regard to Miho, the heightened focus on her. This tells us right away, without needing to spell anything out, and without even needing to say her name, that Miho is our protagonist. The other thing that this first look at the characters does, is that it provides us with almost a game over the course of the first episode especially. Many of the Senshido team members get brief cameo appearances before the team assembles at the end of episode 1. Because we've seen the fully assembled team once already, the show can turn little moments that wouldn't have otherwise meant anything, at least to first-time viewers, into fun little Easter eggs for us to catch. It's like seeing little pieces of a puzzle or hints about a mystery slowly being revealed. Who they are, and how they all came together to become a tank crew, and a larger tank team. Additionally, especially since, after Miho's wake-up scene, we see that she's brand new to Orai and doesn't know anyone, we know that this initial scene is indeed a flash forward and not a flashback. So people will be more likely to keep watching, despite the minimal tank action, so that they see how we get to this point. Of course, along with dropping hints about things to keep us interested in learning more, this scene also offers us a glimpse at what's to come. I'm not just talking about the promise being made of exciting tank combat as a concept. Girls und Panzer takes advantage of this early scene to show off a bit too in terms of its animation and its very well integrated CGI. CGI that only gets better as the show continues. This extended shot of the tanks in motion is just great, and especially our first time seeing one of the show's patented tank point of view shots. It's an immediate declaration of, not only do we know what we're doing with our tank models, but we also know how to be creative when it comes to portraying the tank battles you're here for. Despite the garish paint jobs on many of the tanks, we can see just how much care went into the details on the tank models. It's another sign for the tank nerds watching now that this is a show they should stick with, if only to find out who mutilated those tanks with these colors. There really was no better way to open a show as unique as Girls und Panzer. In just a couple of minutes, it demonstrates what you can expect to see more of eventually, while also showing us enough of the characters and the setting leave us with plenty of questions. Questions that will be answered in the episodes between this point and when the tank battles resume in earnest, all while making what might otherwise be throwaway moments more meaningful. Once again, Girls und Panzer demonstrates its ability to make great use of every moment of its runtime. As great as a chronologically first scene with Miho is, it would have been the wrong choice to open the show with, since it's not really representative of the show as a whole, and doesn't show off Girls und Panzer's prime selling point. Having this first hooks you in, and only then gets into the story itself by formally introducing our main character. It all just works so well, and is much more than just a flashy scene to draw a few eyes. It's an opening that does its job perfectly, and helped make sure that we stuck around to enjoy this amazing show. And to all my fellow writers out there, this is something to learn from. I know I have. If you enjoyed this video and like to support me and what I do here, check out the links to my books and light novels below in the description. A link to my Patreon is down there as well. I've started sharing awesome updates, including completed pages, 15 so far, from my upcoming manga, Amaranth Angels, on there, and there are other rewards as well. I've also got cool merch over on TeePublic. And of course, if you have any thoughts on this video, or just anything Girls und Panzer related you'd like me to talk about, definitely share them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear them, and I do my best to read and eventually respond to all of the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, I'll be doing another Girls und Panzer Dream Tank Match livestream this Saturday at 2 p.m. EST, so be there for that. That's all for now, so until next time.